Can I start? Yes. Well, we're going to be watching Matrix today. Have you seen the trilogy? Anyone? Of course. Well, this whole presentation is going to be in like a console application. No PowerPoints, no nothing. There's going to be slides, but it's going to be in a console. Welcome to my talk. It's .NET CLI demystified. My name is Fanie Reynders, and yeah, today we're going to talk about the .NET CLI. .NET CLI stands for Command Line Interface. Ooh. So it's going to be a short talk. It's not going to be pretty much as good as my predecessor, but I'm going to try my best to sort of indulge myself to make it fun for you guys, you know. Who am I? I've already mentioned my name, Fanie Reynders. So you can find me on Twitter at Fanie Reynders, R-E-Y. The reason I'm speaking English is because I'm actually from South Africa, and I can speak a little bit of Dutch, but today I'm going to be doing the presentation in English. You can check out my website at reynders.co, and oh yeah, I'm also a Microsoft MVP. So let's quickly talk about what the .NET Core CLI is. Any suggestions? Anyone? There's a drone, eh? You can win the drone. So you guys, any takers? So the .NET Core CLI is obviously a command line interface. It's a cross-platform tool chain that Microsoft uses as the foundation for everything, for building, for publishing. Visual Studio IDE uses the .NET CLI underlying to do the stuff. Visual Studio Code uses it. Any IDE on top of .NET CLI can utilize the same things. And yeah, so I'm going to be going through all the commands. We're going to be doing a sort of a sample and to sort of walk you through how easy it is to actually use the command line interface. Because at first, you know, I'm not really like a CLI kind of guy. I like the presentation or the GUI more. But at first it was scary, you know. After a while I was like, this is actually fun. It's quicker than opening an IDE and doing things that you want to do. How do you get it? Well, if you have Visual Studio 2017 installed, you have it already. Don't want to sound like Steve Jobs, but you have it already. You can make use of two ways of installing the .NET CLI if you don't have it. So you can make use of the native installers, or you can use the shell scripts. So I'm not going to go into the shell scripts now, but it's basically a PowerShell script or a bash script you can download from Git, or use curl to download it if you really want to. And you can execute it using the script. And the reason why there are two ways, native installers, are normally for dev machines. If you have a developer machine, you install it on a developer box or wherever. The shell scripts are more used in the continuous integration environment on your build server. We don't have admin access. We really want to execute this installation via a command line interface. The cool thing is you can also install the command line interface or the .NET CLI side by side. So each version is self-contained in its own. Just like Visual Studio is self-contained in its own, side-by-side versioning is the .NET CLI. Let me just see. I have a browser open. I did. Go to .NET. Go to downloads. This is how I get it. You can pick your poison here if you go to .NET Core. You want to be going down to the Visual Studio 2017 tools. So if you have Visual Studio 2017, you already have this stuff. Or you can go to, for Windows, or you can go to the command line editor or command line interface, and then you can download the native installer there for Windows. Pretty much explanatory. The same goes for Linux. Choose your distribution, Mac or Docker. So I'm going to be using Docker for this example. Just quickly switching back to the slides. Is this clear? It's easy. There's even I think a video here somewhere if you really struggle. So the whole command structure is easy. It looks difficult because it's ASCII, but it's not. You have your driver, command, and arguments, and then options. 4 things you have to remember. Driver, commands, arguments, and options. The driver is .NET, D-O-T-N-E-T. It does 2 things. It executes an assembly, your application, or it executes a command. Just as that example beneath. Can you guys see there, by the way? The footer, there's a .NET space app. And then the second one, it's .NET space command space arguments space dash dash options. That's it, basically. So jumping in, I actually have, this looks cool if I switch like that. It's awesome. To use Docker, you have to obviously install Docker on your machine to make it work. So what you need to do is you have to go to docker run -it. And normally you would go to Microsoft/.NET. You want to be getting the latest distribution. I've already done that. I've taken the latest one and I've sort of modified it a bit, installed Vim and installed nano editors. You'll see later why. And I made my own one, but normally you would execute this one, and that's the latest version of the .NET SDK, and you can play around with it on a Linux distribution in Docker. So I have my own one called .NET CLI-demo. And behold, we are in Linux world all of a sudden. Now, .NET, like I said before, it becomes quite tricky at first because you have to sort of do this whole complex thing of .NET. Now, .NET, if you go .NET//version, it will give you a version of your current SDK that you have. Easy. If you don't know what you're doing, you can go .NET space or -h. That's normal cases for help. Anywhere you can do this. At any level, it will give you help on how to use the SDK or the CLI tools. So let's quickly run through this and see if we can understand this whole thing. You guys must please tell me if I'm talking too fast. I have a tendency to mumble my words among. But please put your hand up, throw the speaker box, maybe you can win a drone. I really need to give this drone away tonight, otherwise I'm going to take it. So please, any takers, seriously. So we have commands, arguments, host options, and common options. That's the options section. So the common options are like the normal verbose or help. Verbose is where you want to be able to have more details on the screen when you execute these things. And the host options, where they have diagnostic options and version options that we've seen earlier. What happens if we do .NET info? I don't know actually. Let's just see. Info? No, -- info. So options are always -- That's how I know it's an option. Here's more information. Oh, okay, I'm actually running Debian. That's cool. So OS name, platform, my base path, etc. So I'm really in Linux world. It's not a gimmick. I'm really in Linux world. It just shows you .NET runs everywhere. Right, so let's go back again to that other command, .NET help. So the commands that are available to our disposal, maybe I'll just walk this side again. We have .NET new, .NET restore, .NET build, publish, run, test, pack, migrate, clean, and SLN. Who knows what SLN stands for? Really? Solution? Okay. What's your name, sir? Peter. Remember Peter, eh? I'm not saying you're winning, I'm just saying you're the only one so far. So, Peter, my friend, please ask another question. Right, so, and then we have project modification commands. Commands that are specifically used on project level stuff. In Visual Studio World, that's where you right click on the project. This is the same project level commands. We have add remove list. Now, obviously, you modify a project with these commands. Then we have the advanced commands. I don't know why it's advanced commands, but they call it advanced commands because it's NuGet in there, MS build, and all the stuff we don't know about. They've chucked on the advanced commands. So NuGet, who knows NuGet? The whole. Who doesn't know NuGet? Yeah, so .NET also relays through to NuGet, so you can sort of talk to NuGet via the CLI. If you rather prefer MS build, you know MS build? Right, Visual Studio. Daniel, okay, I will remember your name. MS Build is what's called also by Visual Studio. In fact, Visual Studio calls .NET CLI, which calls MS Build at the back. It's weird, eh? It's like a whole weird thing. And then we have VS Test. That's sort of to run tests and stuff. Visual Studio Test for UI tests and integration tests and stuff like that. So let's create an application. So first, what we want to do, let's just clear this whole thing. You guys can see. You guys can see there, right? So let's create a new. So I'm not a Bash expert or Linux expert. Any Linux guys in the house? Really? There are one. There are two. Or are one. My English are broken. Help me here if I'm doing something wrong, but I don't think I will do anything wrong. It's not that difficult, I think. I need to do this, eh? Test. Great. So I'm going to make a test directory. Great. So in here, what you need to do is first, assuming that .NET is installed, that we have it installed, we go .NET new. Now that's going to be creating a new project, right? But what I'm going to be doing is, first of all, I'm going to go .NET SLN H, delve into the solution level things. So obviously the description says .NET modify solution command. So obviously again the same pattern goes, arguments, options, command, which is a bit weird thing there. But you use these commands add, list, remove to modify your solution. Just like Visual Studio modifies your solution, you can use this to modify your solution. Now, let me see. So if we go to .NET new H, this brings back the template for new. So .NET new arguments options. I can list all my templates available to me. I can get all sorts of funny stuff like outputs and help and all that kind of things. So the templates, here's a short list of all the templates automatically. You have built-in templates. You have console application, class libraries, unit test, XUnit test, ASP.NET Core apps, and a solution file. So the first thing we need to do is build a solution file. You can do it second if you want to, but let's just go orderly through the whole thing. So we go .NET new SLN. Remember to use the sort of short name, not this name. I don't think it will work then if you don't do the other name. And -n for the name of the solution. Who can come up with a great name? Test. No. Hello world. Or how about hello? Come on, have some marketing. For .NET. There we go. Netty. Boom. There we have a solution file. To prove it, well, I'm going to be doing directory, and we have a hello.NET SLN. Great. Now let's create a console application that calls a library and that has a NuGet package to Newtonsoft JSON, and we add it to solution. Okay, easy enough. The normal scenario. So first we need to create our console application. .NET new console. Give it a name of what? No, it's not. Thank you. What's your name, sir? Marco. Peter and Marco. One-on-one. Right. .new console. And Marco. Great. So I have a Marco application going. I need a library. Name for a library. Peter is a good name, eh? So we say, what was it called again? Lib or something? ClassLib. No, I don't think so. Do you think so? Let's check. ClassLib. Wow. What's your name? Who was this? I think, who was this? Jonathan. I think you're winning so far because you beat the speaker, yeah? So let's go. .NET new, what was it again? ClassLib in Peter, like that. Right, so I have a class library called Peter. We have console Jonathan or Marco. We need a Jonathan on our lives, but okay.
What's the -n for again?
Name, -n. Yes. I presume if you go .NET new, H for help, it will say, you can use -- name if you really want to, but -n is a short name. So you can either use the shorthand or the longhand, depending on your hands, I suppose. So, okay, moving on. What do we have now? We have hello4.net, we have a Marco, and we have a Peter folder. So what are we going to do? Let's see if we're going to be building a input function into Peter. Peter is the class lib, right? Peter. Oh, it's capital P. There we go, because we're Linux. Peter, right, so there. Okay, so it's the class lib Peter. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be nanoing into Peter, or class 1. This is nano, my friends. Was this Peter, right? Yeah, this was Peter. Peter guy. So let's create a public void. What do we call this? Say hello. Console.writeLine. Hey, bro. Wonder if this will work. Oh, this should work. Great. So how do we exit this whole thing?
Control X.
Control X. So it hangs down. No, this one doesn't work. I'm gonna do this in Windows. Obviously, doesn't work properly. Right. So I'm gonna do the whole thing again, but in any case, so let's do a .NET new. In and for .NET. Yeah, switch to text directory first. I will do that. I don't think that will work. That won't work. In any case, let's go again. .NET. You guys must help me, huh? Add. No, you. SL in new for .NET. There we go. Great. So .NET new. You can get used to the whole fact you're going to be learning a lot of .NET stuff here. Let's just do a console. Right. So running it. Just gonna stopping there. Running this whole thing. We have commands called .NET run. So what that .NET run does, it runs your application. Question? Hold on, please.
First, you created the solution file, and then you created the project.
Yes.
What if I just directly create the project? Does it create a solution file by
No,
default?
no. Depends, because you might not want a solution. So yeah, you can either create a solution or not create a solution. It all depends on what you want. Question?
Well, the command line is all nice and fine, but so yeah, it's a lot of fun to use the command line. But can you also run all these commands through some API layer via a DLL hookup, for example? Just script all of these procedures in C# and execute them by having kind of a dependency on a .NET Core DLL.
So this is exactly what Visual Studio does. It calls into .NET Core CLI.
Sometimes it starts like self-processes, like
Yes, true.
But I would imagine that if you would have a completely API-wise hookup, then you could run everything out of the starter process. So you wouldn't actually start any additional Windows processes, but everything would run from inside your application somehow.
I'm not entirely sure I understand the question.
Well, from your C# application, you would just basically say you would invoke some function like new SLN to create a new solution, and you would run then your C# application, and that would invoke the new SLN function from your DLL dependency, the .NET Core one, and that would perform the action of creating that solution for you, but it wouldn't necessarily start a sub-process for the task. It would just directly do it through this.
Yeah, that's interesting concept. I think I understand what you mean there. Maybe like script this whole thing. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, can that be done like that in C#?
You can create your own templates. So I'm getting to the point. How's the time looking? I'm getting to the point where you can actually create your own templates. So you can create your foo template that it will include a solution, console, and everything you want, and you can just go .NET new foo, and it will do everything for you. Should I show that rather? Should I? Well, we can do it now. That's very well, yeah. So we have a blog post called Create Your Own .NET New Project Templates that I wrote a while back. And this is what you want. Maybe I must just show you the examples. We have a folder called awesomesauce with a folder called .template.config. And in there we have a file called template.json. Right, so let's do that. Let's have a awesomesauce folder. And let's create a folder in here called, what was it called again? Whatever. Template.config or .template.config. If my machine works with me. Here we go. And in here we have a let me show you guys something. I don't know if you know this. I've actually learned something here. Go to command prompt. And we need to have this. This is the basics that one would need to create a template. You can go notepad. What was it? Template config. Great. So in here we want to paste. It's not working again. We're going to be pasting the minimal stuff in here. So what's in here? So we have an author, that's me obviously. Classification, what is it? It's a console application, it's an awesomesauce application. Name, we have tags. Identity, which needs to be unique. We have a short name, that's awesomesauce. And a very important thing, we have a identifier. That's underscore awesomesauce, and that can be anything. Any placeholder that you wish to sort of use within your code, right? So if we go back to our little console application that we made, if I make, for instance, a program.js, let's actually do this. Let's go .NET new console, and we call it. Let me just quickly think here. What am I doing? We call it awesome. What am I missing? N. It would now go and create a console application somewhere. Yeah. So we have this, and then let's say, for instance, I want to be writing out greetings from underscore awesomesauce. Okay. So what it's going to be doing, that placeholder, is going to be taking the name you would give to your template eventually, and it's going to be putting it into that awesome source placeholder. So you're going to be, it's going to be awesome. Right, so let's go exit here. So let's hope this works. So how do you actually get this template going? So you can push your template to NuGet, or you can add it from a file or from a folder location. And I've outlined everything nicely here on my blog. If you go down to installing it, you would go .NET New to your sort of location where it supposedly is, which is, I think it's awesome source. Yay! All right, now I can go, for instance, .NET New awesome source. Well, let's actually create a directory. Amazon. So let's go .NET New. What? Ah, .NET. Here we go. .NET New. I'm doing it default because there needs to be some kind of interaction in this room, you know? I have a drone. Remember that, guys. So let's call this Amazon. Oh yeah, true. See, someone is catching on. Awesome source. So now it created successfully. So if we go to the whole sandbox environment eventually, which was AWS, was it in here? Test. Here we go. Actually clear my stuff here. AWS. Nothing happened. Why? Because a template. Oh, because I know why. I should have put the whole thing, but you get my drift. You get my drift. If I, under pressure, do the whole talk, it will create the stuff here, trust me. So, see, let's say you have your application. Now, the reason why I'm doing this whole CLI thing is because, question?
My question is, why is Microsoft giving this to the world? Why should we know how to do this? Is this the endpoint? Is this what we are going to do in 5 years?
No. It's just accessibility. So because this is the foundation of what everything works towards, all the IDEs, everything works on top of this foundation.
They are not there yet. Not complete. Not
Visual Studio, Visual Studio Code. It doesn't work. Of course it does. So it's a foundation of all the tools that the GUI tools or IDEs that's built on top of that. The Visual Studio Code that I showed earlier uses .NET at the back. In fact, when you open up a Visual Studio solution, it kicks in to say, hey, I need to restore this application. So quickly going back to my sort of, let's just go back to my question. Yeah.
Why would you use this in your normal development?
Not yet.
Because the console, the CLI.
So it depends on where you are. So if you're doing on a Raspberry Pi, for instance, you don't have an interface, then you're forced to use the .NET CLI. Or for instance, if you will be doing a sort of a low-level Linux thing, you're going to be SSHing to some box, you're going to be executing .NET code there, for instance. It's just a different way. Actually, it's a foundation way, like I said earlier, but it's in a way. It's the base way of doing everything. But if you don't feel comfortable doing it, you can always use the tools that's built on top of it.
But you're building the software on the Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, for instance, for ARM, you can do that, yes. Sorry? There are preview builds that can do that. You can do that as well. Yeah. Question? Yes. Box? It's fine.
The first question is, for example, if you use a build server like Jenkins, is it possible to integrate with Jenkins?
Yes, of course it is.
And second is, for example, if you have version control, so you have pending changes, can you see it also in the console application or in the CLI? What pending changes are?
You would, in that case, you'll be using Git or something.
Yes.
Yeah, for instance, Git commit, and then you'll be using the Git CLI, for instance, in that world, because Git is a CLI on its own. But to answer your question on the build, I've mentioned earlier when you go to the .NET website, downloads, actually here somewhere is build scripts. Somewhere here is scripts you can download. I'm not entirely sure where it is now, but if you Google .NET CLI docs or something, here we go, docs. We go down to the scripts, which is somewhere here. Continuous integration. Look, that's nice. Come, click. There we go. You can go to the scripts installer. CLI repo. Here's the native, well, here's the script somewhere. You can download this, it's PowerShell scripts or somewhere. I can't find it now, but if you Google it, you will find it. And then you add that PS1 or yeah, the PowerShell script or the command script or the bash script, whatever. You can add it as a build step. You can download it physically and add it there as a build step to actually install .NET if you don't have it on a build server. Or you can actually remote in SSH, install it initially, and then you have it on your machine. Right. I'm going to quickly go on, and I'm going to finish off with this because time is of the essence, and you guys are getting thirsty here. I'm going to use my line. It's almost beer o'clock. So let's go back to the whole test thing. What do I have here now? Actually, I've got so many things. So let's go cd beer. So go to .NET new console, for instance, and call it beer blah. Okay, so now we have a beer app. Now to run it, it's quite simple. You go .NET run, .NET. It will go and break. Why? Why? Any questions why this breaks? Not building? No, it's not. That's not building. Who was first? I'm sorry. So how do you restore packages? We're going to be restoring packages. So you go .NET new. No, .NET restore. There we go. .NET restore. I'm all about .NET new, eh? Here we go. .NET restore. But let's quickly, before we go on there, actually let's just run .NET restore. It will go and for your current runtime, it will go and download the .NET dependencies for this application.
Like the nodes package manager.
Yes, exactly. Now .NET restore underlyingly calls into NuGet to do that for you. And if you don't know what you're doing, so you can always go .NET restore guess/h. It will give you like all documentation to your disposal. So run it, you can go .NET run. It will give you hello world. Now, you don't run a application like this all the time. This is more used for sort of dev purposes to run it, because it goes to IL and it sort of compiles there and it's dev mode and whatnot. This is not how you're going to be running a application on the server, for instance. In fact, you get two types of applications, self-contained applications and you get portable applications. Now, the difference between the two is portable applications can go anywhere where the framework lives. So you can, it's very lightweight. It trusts that wherever it lives or where it's going to live, the framework or the SDK will be installed, right? So you can ship it there. Self-contained application might be a new PC you just bought from MediaMarkt or wherever that shop is. I'm name dropping here. And then you're going to be taking that bits of that's in the publish folder. I will show you now where it is. Copy it exactly, put it into that in a folder, then just run it. It will work because it has all the dependencies it needs for it to work. So the .NET framework goes with the application. So that's the difference between self-contained and portable applications. So currently now it's a portable application because it relies on the framework. To make it a self-contained application, we use publish. And as you can see, there's tons of stuff you can do, but the most important thing is this runtime thing. So it's the runtime that you want to be publishing for, right? But to do that, you need to be restoring the packages for that runtime. So in our case, we want to be doing .NET restore Win10 x64, for instance. It will go ahead and restore the packages for Windows 10 64-bit. Eventually. I love how it sort of hints here, beer, beer, beer. There we go. Now we have a Windows 10 sort of version. Before I move on, I want to quickly just show you the whole beer, bin, debug, what happened here. So we have now a DLLs, one DLL basically that's compiled. Question?
You put an identifier over there. How do you get the list of identifiers that you can know upon?
So you go to Google.
Identifiers are available.
So you can Google that. So that's the question I had initially. So I went and I can go .NET Core. See, it's in my list. So I really.
But you cannot know by CLI. It's not added to the documentation.
It's not added to the documentation because that's a living list.
Okay.
So it might be a good feature actually to sort of add in, sort of. Yeah. Well, there might be sort of a NuGet feed or something that does that. .NET runtimes have a list of runtimes. That's a good idea, actually. Okay, so how do I run this beer application now, right? Normally, I would go .NET run, right? So, but we're not now running the application. We're going to be doing .NET-beer, which doesn't work. So .NET, and why does that doesn't? Let me stop there. Why does that not work? .NET-beer. So remember I said earlier about commands and drivers. If it doesn't find a something to drive, it falls back on a command. You can totally build your own .NET-beer command as well by doing a normal batch script, calling it .NET- whatever you want, putting that into the path, and you can just go .NET-beer. And it will pick that up as .NET-beer. It will run that, and it will work. That will also work. So also note it's faster now. So it runs, it's compiled already. It just runs it. It doesn't compile again and runs it. But it's not a self-contained application yet. So how do we do that? First close the screen. Do this. Great. So we do this by doing .NET publish for the runtime Windows 10 x64. And it's going to be breaking if you don't restore that packages for that runtime item. Question?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice to give it a way of parsing that kind of output? You know, getting it available to you in some sort of structure, data structures, which have different kinds of pairs that can be rolled into it. You write this script that will react to all kinds of outputs.
For the identifiers, you mean? Or for
Well, for the kinds of, suppose this operation can throw a few errors, and you would like to handle a couple of them in different ways. I mean, do you have to really parse all of that text output, or can you get it in a more programmatic way?
well, you can go. If I'm understanding you, sir, what you can be doing is you can go verbose. or verbose, if my spelling corrects me, or something like that. Verbose, unknown switch. And it will give you more information on what's happening. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but still, it means if you want to script around the output of any of these commands, then you can only do it sort of in a bash script, I suppose, right?
Yes.
But isn't that a bit old school? Yeah. I mean, you should be able to, invoke this stuff and.
I'm sure there are ways of getting the output out of the game. I'm personally not sure how to do that, but I'm sure. Yes, Visual Studio does that, and it's possible.
But doesn't it just parse the output, for example, of MS Build?
It invokes MS Build. You're right. Yes.
And the output of that, it just sort of parses the text and builds. So that's data structures about the compilation errors out of that, right?
Yes, it does that. So if you go .NET Build. That, you mean?
This is now just output to a console.
Yes.
If you want to do error checking, you have to scan it with rags or
Exactly.
whatever kind of thing you have to scan
Yes,
it.
yes.
This is not available as an object so that you can just access the properties. What are my list of errors? What are my texts? What are my source lines?
Unfortunately, I don't know about anything. We can build one, maybe. It's always open to build one. But it's an interesting topic. Let's talk about it over a glass of beer. Great? Sorry? Yes, exactly. Exactly. So I've already done .NET Publish. So now what does it did? What did it do? If we go to the debug directory now, you will see there's a Windows 10 directory. In there are my normal stuff that happened on build. That's my exe and stuff. But inside the publish, there are tons of files. So basically these files, if you can read there, maybe I'm just do this. These files are basically the NET Core App 2.0 NuGet package. It's copied in there, right? It's the whole. It's all the dependencies you need for your application to work. The next version of the .NET tools will only have the actually dependencies you use in there. So the list will get smaller and smaller and smaller. Yes.
Serious question. They used to, well, you got .NET with Windows.
Yes.
Are there plans to give .NET Core with future Windows releases as well, so that you don't have to publish for Windows? For instance, you can do an independent, what do you call it? Yeah, but like with Windows. Yeah, a portable application to Windows, for instance. You don't have to do this huge publish.
I'm sure there is.
That's a good question. Remember that name.
That's a good question. I will remember that name. But in any case, closing off, this is the stuff you can do. You can X-copy this onto the folder you want on any box. You can run it. And if you run it now, for instance, eventually, beer.
How do you specify the release build?
So yeah, doing .NET build or .NET publish dash, I think it's, what was it called? C or something? C. Yeah, C. There we go. C and go release. But obviously it needs a runtime. Let's go and do, was it Ubuntu or something? Ubuntu 16.04 dash x64 something. Will this work?
So you go to level up.
Oh yeah, you're right. So that's a good comment. Right, so let's try this again. Will this work? Must restore. So the whole idea is you learn by doing these kind of things. And I'm not an expert, obviously, but it taught me a lot of the CLI. What you can do with this thing is amazing. You literally can do anything with the CLI. Like I mentioned before, the tools are using the CLI. You can build your custom stuff that does the same things. So you guys can go out and build your own things that uses the .NET Core thing. Two questions.
Does this work for non-core projects or gonna work it for non-core projects?
So it's, as far as my knowledge goes, it's only for .NET Core.
And from the command line we can use msbuild and we can use now .NET. Which one should I choose?
Pick your poison, I would say.
Like.
Whatever you like, because like I said, Visual Studio uses this anyway. And if you're comfortable using msbuild, you can also, via the CLI, you can go .NET msbuild and pass normal msbuild arguments to it if you really want to. I think there's a difference between, there's a sort of a, depends on your taste. If you like CLI or if you like GUI. It's just another way of doing things, I suppose.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
You created a solution at the beginning, but you never added any of these projects to
True.
the solution. Do you need to add them? Do you add first and then click?
So you can create your solution first, and then, can I show you quickly? Yes, there we go. Right, Herman. Let's do this. All right, so you go .NET, new, console, name Herman, app. Right, there's your console application. So now I've created the project first without the solution, right? Do the same thing. Create a Herman solution, right? Now you can go .NET, I think it's add or something. To the solution, I suppose. Yeah, it's Herman. Command required. What is the command? .NET? Help. Let's go help. It's true, it's add. Add things to the product. So we go .NET SLNH. Something is seriously wrong here. No, something is wrong. This is not working. This thing is broken. But you would go .NET SLN. Something is broken.
It seems like it's a live bug.
It's a live bug. Let's log it. No, seriously, what is wrong here? SLN. Look. .NET SLN should be a solution.
Google says just .NET add project solution.
Add project solution.
.NET
Yeah.
add and then the project name.
The project name?
Or the solution name. It's a wrong path. So you can
It's a wrong path, is it? No, it's not. Oh, it is. No, but wait a second. Here we go. This one. SLN doesn't work. Yeah. Wait. One guy at a time. So. Wait. So we go Herman. No, but you have a solution. Yeah? You're actually Googling it.
Ja, hij doet het dan wel, maar hij is toch vervallen. .NET, add,
Yeah?
and then solution name, and then project name.
That's exactly what I had. Yeah, Herman SL1, that's the solution name. Herman solution. There we go. And then? There's so many Herman apps going on here. See, it's not working for some reason. This is not working. There's something wrong. I'm going to stop it there, guys. Sorry. You've been great. Thank you very much. So now I need to give out a prize, I suppose.